Welcome to the 1997 commencement ceremony for the graduating class. We will now hear the Blue Tango. Thank you very much to the Winchester High School Band and to the director, Priscilla Miller. On this glorious day, I'd like to welcome all of you, and I know that if we claimed responsibility for this glorious day today, we would also have to claim responsibility for some of the small bad weather we've had in the past. So I think we'll just let that part go. Our first speaker this afternoon is Scott Baum, President of the Student Union. Scott, could you come forward?
Good afternoon. First of all, I'd like to start out by thanking my parents and the rest of my family for coming out to support me on my graduation day, and my mom for helping out a lot with setting up my graduation party and everything that goes around with it. Thanks a lot. You guys are great. 4 years ago, it was a goal of mine, almost a dream, to be standing up where I am right now today. I thought a lot about what I would say if I was up here, and how I would completely awe my class with words of wisdom and a lot of profound stuff. But a couple of weeks ago, when it actually hit me that I was going to be up here, and I was expected to impress you guys with some really sound advice on what to do after you graduate. A lot of my dream lost a little bit of its allure. So when I was faced with a difficult task, I did what any other normal high school kid would do, and I procrastinated and put it off for writing my speech. I was waiting for that moment of enlightenment when it would just kind of write itself in my head. A couple of days before it was due, I realized that might not happen. So I turned to a higher power and began listening to every Grateful Dead song in my collection looking for something that would inspire me. And for the first time in my life, even the dead failed me. I didn't know what to do. I was back at square one. So thoroughly frustrated, I decided to take a little more simplistic approach and try and figure out for myself what a graduation speech really should be all about. And I decided that a graduation speech was a chance to give your classmates that great universal piece of advice that everyone needs as they leave the nest and head out into the real world. Well, once I figured this out, I was really relieved because I decided that was impossible, even for a bastion of wisdom and temperance such as myself, to give one piece of advice that would be useful to 200 extremely different people that are graduating with me today. We all have our own personal values, and we all need to find our own individual pieces of truth to focus our lives around. We all need our own advice. So rather than try to influence all of you, I prefer to thank you guys for everything that you, as a class, have taught me over the last 4 years. My friends have taught me that the value of loyalty, and I'd like to thank them for always taking my side, even when I was wrong. My teammates taught me the value of hard work, and I'd like to thank them for always putting forth the best effort they could. And the entire class as a whole taught me a lot about unity. Everyone I talk to outside of our class tells me that we're a really tight grade, and I think that says a lot about the overall personality of everyone in this class. And I think that's a lot about what makes up the class of '97. In 10 years, I'm reasonably sure that I won't remember a lot of things from school. I probably won't remember how to integrate either the X or recite a monologue from Macbeth, but I'm really sure I'm going to remember most of you guys that are sitting here today. So I'd just like to wish you good luck in your lives, and I'm sure that success awaits all of you. Thank you.
Thank you, Scott. Our next address will be from the senior class president, Carly Graham, please. Could you come forward?
Good afternoon, Dr. Eaton, Ms. Morse, members of the faculty, parents, and friends. On behalf of the Winchester High School class of 1997, I would like to welcome everyone here to our graduation ceremony. Thank you all for being a part of this very special day. Now let me take a few moments to tell those of you who may not know us as a class and remind those of you who do know us who we are. We are athletes, we are actors, we are musicians and singers, we are artists and dancers, we are volunteers, tutors, and mentors. We are members of clubs, teams, and organizations. We are all-American athletes, and we are National Merit Scholars. We study, we party, we are sachems. Our class consists of some of the brightest, the funniest, and the most talented individuals ever to have stepped foot in Winchester High School. Despite our uniqueness, however, we all have something in common. Each one of us has been a part of a group that has made it through the most unusual circumstances, the most difficult hardships. Be it unexpected natural disasters or the death of a friend, our class has united, supported one another, and risen to the next challenge. In 1990, when we were in the 5th grade, the town of Winchester had a problem fitting all of its students into its elementary schools. Members of the school committee, town meeting, teachers, and citizens of Winchester discussed our situation and decided that our class would be the first 6th grade class to move into the middle school. Now, I think it's fair to say that we, the class of '97, felt a little bit cheated. Cheated out of the opportunity to be the oldest kids in our elementary schools. We had spent 6 long years as underdogs, and just as our moment to be the big kids arrived, we had to start all over again. The following September, we entered McCall with apprehension. Just about everyone in town had questions about our new situation. How would we adjust? Would the 7th and 8th graders give us a hard time? Would this plan really work? Of course it worked. And it gave us the advantage of coming together as a class 1 year before our predecessors had. As our middle school years continued, so did our adventures. During the 8th grade, every one of us took a course called Government and Law, which included a class trip to Washington, D.C. to expose us to what we had been learning. Our teachers planned to bring us to visit the White House, Congress, several museums and monuments. However, the night we arrived in Washington, D.C., that city experienced the worst blizzard it had had in over 20 years. The Capitol literally shut down. So we had all of our meals at the same restaurant, the only restaurant that was open in our vicinity. We couldn't visit any of the sites. In fact, we had to stay an extra night in D.C. Back home, our parents worried that our trip had been ruined. But in actuality, it was quite the opposite. Instead of bringing us to the White House, our teachers set up relay races for us in the hotel lobby. These were educational relay races, of course. Some of us met President Clinton and the First Lady on their way to church in the snow. We even appeared on the evening news when reporters from a local television station presented a feature on how our teachers were handling 150 13-year-olds who had nothing to do. Because of this catastrophe, we had one of our best class trips ever. The creativity and resilience of our teachers brought out the best in each of us and taught us the benefits of sticking together as a class. Together, we have made it through the most comical of situations as well as the saddest. Perhaps the hardest event for a group of students to deal with is the loss of one of their friends. In August of 1995, our classmate Brooke Swan was struck and killed by a train. Brooke was a brilliant student, a talented individual, and a great friend. I think each one of us was affected by this tragedy in some way or another. We tried to understand why something so terrible could happen to someone so good. We tried to face the reality that someone our own age and in our own class could actually die. We miss her dearly. This year, we have faced new challenges, such as the infamous Winchester flood. This was an event I know many of us will never forget. After news had spread that the high school had suffered major damage, a meeting was held to talk about what we would do. At this meeting, our principal, Ms. Morse, turned and said to me, "Carly, we're worried about the seniors. This is supposed to be your year." I replied, "You just gave us a 5-day vacation. Don't worry, we're fine." We returned to the middle school where we learned a lot we hadn't necessarily wanted to learn. For instance, what it was like to begin school every morning at 7 a.m., or how it felt to have to carry all of our books and winter coats around with us all day because we had no lockers, or how to scrunch ourselves into desks meant for kids half our size in classrooms cluttered with middle schoolers' work. Although it was difficult for everyone, this experience ultimately brought us closer, separated our class from any class before us, and added, in a weird way, to the excitement of our senior year. My fellow classmates, in the next stage of your life, take with you all that you have learned, both inside and outside the orange walls of Winchester High School. We are a class which has shared exciting, unusual, and painful events. Think of our experience together as training for life. Next year, when you are faced with obstacles that you have never confronted before, remember, what doesn't kill you will make you stronger. We've done it here, and we can do it out there. Thank you.
Thank you, Carly. Our next speaker will be Sarah Thayer, Chairman of the Scholarship Committee, and I'd also like to recognize William O'Leary, who is here, Chairman of the Winchester Board of Selectmen. Sarah, could you come forward, please?
Good afternoon. Each year there is a new chair of the Scholarship Committee. 51 people have served before me, all Winchester residents and all volunteers. The committee's goal is to help Winchester's families meet the cost of sending their children to college. This year, the Scholarship Committee has $135,000 available for grants to high school seniors and to Winchester High School graduates who are in college. This money comes from you, the people of Winchester, the civic organizations, and local businesses. Many of you have endowed scholarships, the income of which is used annually, and many more of you give each year to the annual telethon, the foundation's major source of contributions. I should like to thank you and say how it makes me feel to be able to grant that kind of money. It makes me feel great about my town. Each year, student needs exceed the funds available for distribution, however, and this makes for hard decisions regarding grants. This year, we awarded 18 grants to high school seniors out of a pool of 31 applicants, with grants ranging from $500 to $5,000. For those of you who applied, the letters will be coming in the mail in a few days. Scholarships are given based on financial needs, so if you do not receive a grant, all it means is that there were others much needier than you. As you go through college, I would encourage you to apply again. For as we all know, financial situations can change quite a bit from year to year. I would like to thank my fellow committee members, particularly Paula Gallagher, who will be standing here next year. Also, Jack Waite and Larry DeGeorge. I would like to especially mention Tony DiBiase, who for many, many years has been a key advisor to the committee. Tony, wherever you are, I doubt we would have been able to do this without your support and wise counsel. Tony is retiring this year, and the committee is going to miss him very much. Thank you also to the volunteer trustees, the finance committee, and officers. A very special thanks to all who have contributed so generously, both in the past and this year in particular. To the graduates, good luck, congratulations, and when you're rich and famous, please remember the Winchester Scholarship Foundation. Thank you.
Here with us today from the school committee, we have three members, Kathleen Bodie, Sarah Swiger, and Geraldine Heinholt. And Geraldine Heinholt, the president, will say a few words. The beach ball you can have later.
A flood and a new principal, all in the same year. You took a disaster, that's the flood, not the principal, and turned it into an opportunity. And now you serve as role models for other communities. You're an extraordinary group. And I really wish you very extraordinary things in your personal and professional lives. Thank you and congratulations.
Both Dr. Kathleen Buckley, the assistant superintendent, and the superintendent, Carol Eaton, is here. And Carol Eaton, your superintendent, would also like to say a few words to you.
Thank you for that applause. It's not often that I get applause, so I really appreciate it. Thank you. I would like to send the faculty, all the staff, the administrators, greetings to this graduating class. You really are, you are a fun group. I like beach balls too. Actually, we could have used the beach balls back in October during the flood tides, that's for sure. I started off last year the same way by thanking the parents of these students and all of the relatives that contributed to producing such a wonderful group of students that we had the pride and the privilege to educate, to expose to different experiences. You're truly an outstanding group of relatives and parents, and I want to start off by thanking you all first. I want to thank the there's some irony in this, I think. Maybe they'll get it all out of their systems before the other students have to speak. That would be good. I want to thank the teachers and all of the faculty all the way back to the kindergarten years as well for shaping the students that now sit up here on the field in the graduating chairs. There's several people from the high school that contributed greatly who will be retiring this year. And these folks will be remembered not only by the graduating seniors, but also by the staff and administration who will remain to serve. First of all, I want to just cite some of what Carly Graham just did, and that is the outstanding accomplishments of this particular graduating class. You were wonderful at handling the flood. You were wonderful in your academics. You're people who participate and excel in drama. The yearbook was exceptional. I told Marriott Pappenheimer earlier this week that it surpassed last year's yearbook. Just a fantastic job. In music and in drama, in art, athletics, you all are outstanding. But the one thing that I think that has struck me about this class, very, very much so this year, was leadership. You folks took the whole issue of how to come up with a policy, along with your principal, Ms. Morris, on drugs and alcohol abuse, and you shaped it. You didn't become negative about it. You worked together as a group with your faculty and your families, and you made it work. And I really want to congratulate you on that accomplishment. You have everything. You have everything in your foundation for success in the future, and you're so much more fortunate than so many students who do not have the advantages that Winchester offers. And I just want you to always be aware of that when you go out to colleges, universities, jobs, whatever it is your plans include. There are a few things that don't come necessarily out of a textbook, and those are the things that I constantly have to remind myself in my pursuit for success here in Winchester and success for the best education for students. We all have to deal with a lot of people who don't agree with us. We have to deal with many, many folks who would like to see money spent a different way. They would like to see us do different things. So my advice is going to come in 5 short little clips of information. We need to have emotional wisdom, no matter what our choice of profession or job is for the future. You need to keep some of the positives of what it's like to be a child. Some of the strongest leaders in this country are spontaneous. They're able to see the humor in every single situation. They're able to learn new things and change their behavior, even if they happen to be my age, which is 55. All right? That's one of the most important things. Keep those childlike qualities, but don't act childish. How you relate to others, those people who don't agree with you and who want you to do something different and you know that you don't want to, you need to have the ability to accept people as they are and not as you would like to have them be. Our first mistake is to make judgments about folks that they don't know as much as we do, that if they only did, wouldn't they be better people? You have to accept folks as they are. Walk in their shoes, as you've heard that old cliche, but it's important. You need to have the capacity next to approach relationships and problems in terms of the present. Nobody wants to listen to a rehash of the past. It didn't work before, we tried it, we don't want to do it again, and there's no other way that it will work except the way we're doing it. That's something that will not allow you for success in the future. You need to treat those people like your family, your friends that are close to you, as well as you do strangers and casual acquaintances. How many times we take for granted the folks that are closest to us? They must understand what we mean. And if we say hurtful words or we do hurtful things, then they just have to accept it because they know we're us. And that is not necessarily what we do for the outsiders. You need to, and this is the one that I always remind people about, you need to trust other people that you don't know necessarily, you're meeting for the first time, folks that on your job you need their cooperation, even though there is a risk that you're not protecting yourself when you automatically extend trust, and you perhaps are going to have someone hurt your feelings or betray you. But it's a whole lot better than going through this world and not trusting people and their intentions. Have the ability, and this is, I think, next to the trust one, the most important thing you can remember, have the ability to do without constant approval and recognition. Because if you wait for people to say, boy, was that a great job, you're a great guy or a great woman, you're not going to get it. You have to have that stuff inside, that self-respect, that you know you're doing the right thing as long as you're listening to what other people's opinions are. But you're going to have to do things that cause people not to approve of you all the time. That is, if you're really doing what you should be doing in whatever your pursuit is. People are not always going to recognize and approve. And you have to be true to yourself. I think there are several great people in literature who have said that. Be true to yourself. And that's my last comment, and I just want to say congratulations and never forget us. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Eaton. It's an honor to be here today and to have the opportunity of speaking to you at your graduation from Winchester High School, and I promise that I'll be short. This event, your graduation, marks both an ending and a beginning. The ending, of course, is your time here at Winchester, and the beginning is the beginning of the rest of your life. The boundaries between endings and beginnings are not always clear. T.S. Eliot, a poet you may well have encountered in one of your English classes, wrote of the way in which beginnings and endings blur, and I quote, "What we call a beginning is often the end, and to make an end is to make a beginning. The end is where we start from." Here you are at the end of your Winchester education, but at the beginning of many new ventures. As you think about ending your time at WHS, some of the particulars of your existence of the past 4 years you will probably be able to part with easily. Let me give you a couple of examples. No longer will you have to worry about 3 tardies equaling a cut, if indeed that ever concerns you. No longer will you be asked to move away from that very comfortable spot by your locker and to move some other place. Never again will you be in the position of having to ask someone else for permission to go to the bathroom. And yet, much of what you have learned during your 4 years in the Winchester Public School, or during your years in the Winchester Public Schools, will carry you through and help you to shape your new beginnings. How to follow a project through from the initial idea to completion, how to get help and support that you need to succeed, how to balance the multiple and, I must admit, often unreasonable demands that you have faced. Papers, sports, jobs, college applications, tests, family commitments, and of course, with this group, particularly socializing. The skills that you have gained in learning to master these myriad tasks are now a part of your repertoire, are part of what you carry with you when you leave here, are part of what T.S. Eliot referred to as the end where we start from. As you begin to make your end here, and before you begin to shape your new beginning elsewhere, I would like to share with you my impression of you as a class. My impression, of course, is focused on this year, the year that we have shared together. And it has been a year like no other, just as you are a class like no other. 3 concepts come to mind when I think of the class of 1997 and this year that was. The 3 are crisis, creativity, and celebration. And on the note of celebration, could you hold that last bit of celebration until we get to the end of this? Of course, the event that shaped much of our year was the crisis in the form of water, the flood of October 1996. The flood simply happened. The way in which you dealt with it, with creativity and even with celebration, sets you apart. I was, as you heard Carly mention in her speech, concerned particularly about you, the senior class, in the wake of the flood. There is a level of expectation of what senior year is supposed to be. How could we possibly have a full senior year while spending a major portion of it in double session at McCall Middle School? Well, clearly, I hadn't fully gotten to know you yet. You are a class that takes advantage of adversity, a class that is able to turn a disaster into a positive experience. You are a class, many of whom volunteered their time to help out local merchants during the time that school was not in session. You are a class that continued to excel academically, even when the day began before dawn and ended before lunch. You are a class that continued to celebrate being seniors, even when many might have said that there was nothing left to celebrate. You have shown a great strength in all the way in which you've managed with this adversity, and I feel sure that you will carry this strength with you as you move from this ending into your new beginnings. But endings, as noted before, are not always easily separated from beginnings. What you have learned from the experiences of the flood, as well as what you have learned from all of your experiences in school, will be called upon and utilized in your future explorations. And as you go on in your new beginnings to expand your experiences and your knowledge, you will come to have new and deeper understandings of what you have learned right here as a part of this beginning and ending in Winchester. The second and final stanza of the T.S. Eliot poem suggests that the new beginnings ahead of you will aid you in a deeper understanding of this place, the place from which you are taking an ending today. We shall not cease from exploration, and the end of all our exploring will be to arrive where we started and know the place for the first time. I know that you will not end your exploration, and I feel sure that your future exploration will build upon what you have already started right here and bring you to a deeper understanding of what you have begun. Much of what you will take from this place springs from the friendships you have formed with your classmates. The final part of what I have to say comes directly from a group of seniors, students from the chorus who asked me to read the text of a song to the class. So here it is, a gift from you and to you, representing the spirit of creativity and celebration, which you provide for one another and which will enable you to handle any crisis that comes in your path. It's called Tribute. My friends, the crossroads are near. Soon we shall say to each other another farewell. So now let's live for the moment, sing one more song of elation, one more glass of good cheer. Though the chapter shall end when we turn the page, let us sing a tribute to life as friends. My friends, take pride in our years. We've borne the seeds of tradition. Let's raise our glasses high. Let's toast in honor of memories, in thanks for the times. Though the chapter shall end when we turn the page, the end of this night is the end of our age. As we all set forth to find our own way, let us sing a tribute to life as friends. Thank you. It is now time to begin the diplomas, and you can have the beach balls back. But before we start with the diplomas, I would like to ask 4 people to come forward. These are our 4 top academic students from the graduating class.
So, whose influence are you under?
Thank you.
There we are. There's a time for everything, you know. We will now award the diplomas for the graduating class of 1997, and Mr. Olson will read the names, and Dr. Eaton will help with the diplomas. Are they supposed to do something? Okay.
Come on. Are you ready? Diana A. Albanos. Corinne B. Alford. Dawn Marie Allen. James Michael Elinardo. Jessica Marie Ames. Robin Elizabeth Anderson. Sarah E. Andrus. Joseph E. Anisi. Heather Amelia Balcom. Franklin Baldwin. James G. Baldwin. Nicole R. Barron. Robert Scott Baum. Jonathan R. Beacon. Alexander Stephen Beckman. Dina L. Bahar. Andrew W. Belanger. John T. Bett. William Nelson Bing. Carolina S. Bitterelli. Paige Purcell Black. Kimberly Ann Bolin. Allison Virginia Borges. Elizabeth Eleanor Borges. Catherine Phillips Bradford. Kevin J. Braga. Morgan Brandt. Brian R. Brazel. Scott David Brooks. William Howard Bunting. Michelle Lee Bonapane. Mark Patrick Campbell. Ashley Gardner Cannon. Brian C. Caruso. Michael Cella. Luke Michael Colella. Kristen Elizabeth Collins. Kevin Richard Colosi. Michelle Lee Consolaweza. Luke Peter Corby. Lauren Elizabeth Corkery. Anne Marie Crowley. Nicole Judith Cuff. Jessica Louisa Kuna. Matthew Paul Cura. Molly M. Cura. Kenneth John DeBrasio Jr. Lauren Beth Daly. Nicholas Adam Danella. Maria Lorena Davila. Nicole Del Flumeri. Vanessa Maria DeMarco. Susan DeYoung. Michael A. DeFonso. Daniel Peter DeFranco. Christopher S. Dooley. Michael Frederick Dorr. Michael Peter Doucette. Daniel Eric Drazen. Christopher Ebling. Melinda Ann Elwood. Brooke Victoria Estridge. Jamie Lynn Fallbeck. Derek William Fallon. Catherine Therese Fallon. Cara R. Fidalgo. Cynthia Marie Fitzer. Christine Nicole Fiamara. Kate Ellen Flaherty. Frank Federa Jr. Sarah Suzanne Freeman. William Charles Galatis. Matthew Joseph Gallery. Paulina Guitars. Mark Anthony Gattineri. Vanessa Gilio. Joseph Vincent Gilberto. Carly Allison Graham. Erica Dominica Garino. Amanda Lee Garasi. Megan Christine Halchek. Charles O'Toole Hamilton. Catherine Ann Hammond. Abigail Ridgway Haskell. Kristen Elena Hoffman. Carrie O'Neill Holleran. Cameron Christie Huson. James Hurlbut. Diana Wang. Dana Patrice Imperator. Daryl C. Interes. Joseph Jabre. Luke Frank Jankowski. James A. Johnson IV. Linnea Marie Johnson. Sean Level Jumper. Ryan Keenan. Kenneth Richard Keene. Lauren Marie Killian. Brian Stephen King. Jennifer Marie Lambert. Tammy Lynn Largent. Gregory Latoris. Renee Jordan Lavalle. John R. Levitt Jr. Scott Andrew LeBlanc. Christina J. Lee. Charles Eric Lyserson Jr. Vincent Rocco Leo. Hadass Lev. Allison Lindmark. Nancy T. Levada. Mark B. Lombardi. Jeremiah Francis Lyons. Catherine Elizabeth McGuire. Elizabeth Moore Malcolm. Amanda Jean Manette. Diane Elizabeth Marion. David McGeehan. Thomas Andrew McGonigal. Lauren Elaine McGreenery. Tessa Marie McInnes. Neil Andrew McClellan. Andrew David McCrae. Brian Matthew Mahar. Diana Hathaway Merritt. Megan Marie Middleton. Aaron M. Magowski. Laura Ann Montgomery. Juan Manuel Mora Petronazzi. Robert McNeil Morse. Jennifer Pamela Mosher. John Daniel Murphy. Jill Olivia Nagel. Christine Nervola. Evan Graff Nolan. Molly Irene Nolan. James B. Norris. Paul Daniel Notar Tomaso. Tanya Christine Novak. Justin George David Pickering. Jessica B. Pirani. Benjamin G. Powell. Matthew D. Prosh Wilson. Michael Stephen Provenzano. Aaron A. Quade. Sean G. Rafferty. Arusha Z. Rana. Richard L. Raymond, Jr. Samuel Starr Richardson. Susan Peggy Rivas. Amy Elizabeth Roberts. Rhiannon Myra Roberts. Deborah Marie Rogers. Robert Ronald Rossello, Jr. Andrew S. Rotundi. Mark E. Rowe. Megan R. Rowe. Michelle Marie Russo. Kiera Elaine Scapini. Julie Elizabeth Scholl. Palin Schwab. Justin Taylor Serpone. Michael I. Schmays. Carrie Rose Smith. Margaret J. Sobkowitz. Diane Catherine Saboski. Vanessa Lynn Sutley. Nicholas Odysseus Stephanopoulos. Adam Gregory Storregard. Christopher Mark Sullivan. Mark Anton Schwartz. Michael S. Takas. Melissa Christine Tavares. Thea Danielle Thompson. Andrew Daniel Torella. Jamie T. Sukakoshi. David Eric Van Aken. Bradford Donald Varecchia. Amy Mary Voltero. Allison Catherine Walwork. Elizabeth Patricia Ward. Robert E. Whitney III. Tamron A. Willie. Elizabeth Foster Weiss. Carl Edo Witt. Jonathan William Zissy.
And congratulations to the class of 1997.
I believe so. Oh, let's go to the car.
I didn't fall going up. I was like,
Oh, over there? These guys are hunting. This is my idea from yesterday. Your idea from yesterday?
I'm so happy I got out.
Yeah, as soon as I figure out where.